Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We got an internal dilemma going on while we break down my 111,000 dividend portfolio in these glory times, or are they not? But we got to break down the insanity that has been going on in the markets right now, guys. So let's jump right into this. Welcome back, my passive income investors alike. It is extremely late. I am extremely tired. I can't even express to you the amount of work I've accomplished over the last 2 days alone to still sit here at midnight, just getting home from work, finished up everything I gotta get ready for tomorrow just to make this video for you. I could not help myself because we've all seen the tweet that Trump brought out, and it has taken the markets to a whole new level. And I'm actually shocked. I looked at how far down my portfolio was, and I guess some of the stocks might have come back at the end of the day. I doubt it. I saw a ton of red today, but somehow I'm not really down a whole lot. I'm sitting at 111,368. I haven't really contributed through this whole process either. So we're gonna go see what stocks are performing the best, what is actually holding my portfolio up. Mind you, I am down about $5,000. I'm gonna say because I added an extra 1,000. So probably down around $5,000 in total from the all-time highs when we peaked over 115. But I love this. Honestly, this is an interesting time, but I need your guys' help. I'm tired, so let's get out of my ugly tired face and take a look at what is going on. Alright, before I jump into my six-figure dividend portfolio, consider slapping a like. I can't even express to you the amount of work that I put in to even try and make these videos for you guys along with the rest of my life right now. But this is so important, and it's so exciting and crazy, and it's why I love the markets. It's like trolling has become a whole new ball game, and I think this should be like a Logan Paul match between the U.S. and China and bringing it on, because it's just back and forth here right now, guys. And let me just jump into the news first. We'll start with what CIBC. That's something that we're going to talk about in my portfolio coming up. Prepare. The Dow tumble 600 plus points as trade war escalates. China imposes 75 billion in retail tariffs on the U.S. goods. G7 and Fashion House join forces of climate change. And they're really kind of just filling you in with the day's news. But the most important thing is basically what is going on here, because China's threatening to charge more tariffs, but Trump came out with a blow because China's like, you know what, well, you can charge tariffs too. We got a lot going on over here. And then all of a sudden, Trump's like, you know what? Everyone that works in China, bring your jobs back to the U.S. and just firing left, right, and center here right now. That's bringing the whole entire market into a decline. But as I like to call it, what's green today? Oh, we got Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only, Ethereum's the only thing that's green right now. But what I'm talking here is red tag deals. That's what I'm looking for. And that's what we have here today, guys. I'd like to say this is unusual, but it seems to be happening on a bi-weekly basis. So let's just get into the portfolio, starting with what I want to ask you guys about, which I've mentioned here with Canadian Imperial Bank. So I got some interesting news on that. GEO Group's been under some crazy fire, but like I said, this will be better to look in the actual positions in which I hold. Now, before I start breaking down my tax-free savings account, all the dividends I make in here are cash-free, tax-free. I just get it to come in, collect it. It's a beautiful account that I've had nice capital gains on. We're still seeing some green. I've capped out pretty nice on this account currently, and I'm surprised it's holding up as well as it is. But the one I want to talk about you first before we start analyzing all of these companies is Canadian Imperial Bank has been under fire by Steve Eisman, and I've come to some recent concerns after, now I'm not going to call it insider trading because I don't even know what the guy's position was in Canadian Imperial Bank. I just talked to somebody that worked there at one of my jobs, and he's put me under a little bit of pressure because he's making me wonder if I don't know what I know about this company to be true. So it's basically leading me to analyze their reports a lot more. I'm just going to go through some of it. I still want to hold this company. I just don't want the exposure I have to it currently. So I'm going to try and liquidate out 4,000 shares. Thought I was going to be able to do it soon on this pop, but Trump opened his mouth. So I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below. Is Canadian Imperial Bank, if you know anything about what is going on in the banking sector right now, do you think I should sell out a bit of it? Steve Eisman isn't saying these companies are going bankrupt. I don't believe they are by whatsoever. But in the short term, I honestly think there might be some pain coming, which I have been prepped for. Like I said, if you've watched my my video on the Canadian real estate here, most of this bank is mortgaged out. And if we actually probably take a look at some of their charting here, we're going to see that I'm going to have to actually go into the fundamentals. Let's take a look at the fundamentals here. Basically, some of the fundamentals have changed. I'm going to have to actually go into the Canadian Imperial Bank
books on their website to break this down properly. I'm not going to be able to do this on here right now. So I just want you guys to let me know in the comment section below what you know about the banks, what you think about it. Do you think I'm overexposed? Do you think I should sell it all? I'm not to that point yet, but the story is changing, and I'm confused by how convoluted banks can be today, and if I'm over worried about it, or if these banks are set up for a cushion with their loss provisions because they know what's coming. And a lot of people do too. I'm just curious to how bad it is and how they're going to mitigate it. But moving on, we got Altria Group, my favorite companies. But I'll just finish with the Canadian stocks here first because I'm going to get too far ahead of myself. So utilities are still down. Actually, Northland Power is down. It looks like I'm up a lot on this position, but trust me, it's down from all-time highs. Luckily, I sold out toward their all-time highs and was able to buy some other stocks. BNS is not one of the shorted banks, but it has not had any real performance over Canadian. Like I said, Canadian stocks are basically where you come to die unless you're buying Canadian growth stocks like Shopify. There's not much going on in here, Canada, for good stocks. I'm going to say it's a little iffy, especially with the big guys like the oil companies. But anyways, we got Altria Group, my favorite stock of all time right now. I'm glad I have this on a drip. I can't buy enough of this right now. I have a lot of faith in this company. I think it's going to be my number one pick this year, and I'm glad I have what I have in it. And I wouldn't mind even being somewhere around like a 20, I'm going to say 28, 30% exposure rating in my portfolio between that and British American Tobacco. And I'm also adding Johnson & Johnson, which we'll get to in a sec. But obviously Microsoft and Apple are still the ones pulling up. Man, did I ever get out of Apple at a half decent time. I think I sold out at 214. It'd be fun to buy back into the dips. If I get some dividends that come off this and Microsoft, I might push them all back into Apple. But obviously I used Apple, like I said in the past, to purchase some MO and BTI because I want to have those high-end quality dividend stocks in my tax-free savings account for those juicy dividends. I'm not going to get into those today, mind you, because I just want to get through this news and see what's going on with the rest of these companies. So we have MMM down 6% today. We have Altria Group, and this account is down 6%, but it's not terrible. Purchased at 48. My average buy is not too bad. In here, I got the best purchase at $33 on British American Tobacco. Johnson & Johnson, discount central is what I'm talking about. I got to get my hands on more of this. I want to have more exposure to the drug industries, especially companies that can push opioids and ecstasy, which is a wild thing to say, but it's a reality that exists. And the fact that they're basically involved in medical, they're 30% exposed to medical, basically equipment and drugs, and it's a good portion of their income. Starbucks, it's still not really coming on discount. I bought it at $95.15, and we barely budged down. A little disappointed with that one as well. And then Tesla, obviously, with their exposure to China, it's going to get hit pretty hard right here. But oh my God, guys, the discounts. If you do not have a drip set up, like I do, I can only do it on Altria Group right now, unfortunately, because I don't have enough exposure to these guys yet. But if you do not have your drips, if you don't know what drips are, they just take the dividends to reinvest them. Usually some of these companies give you actually benefits and cheaper shares for doing share buybacks, as they're called. It's kind of a similar deal, right? And then you just get more shares, more dividends, cheaper. It's a good call all around. You got to set it up in the accounts you're using. This is Scotia iTrade, by the way. Obviously, I should have started with the RRSP. This money's just sitting here in an emergency in case the stocks and the real estate come down and I want to buy something. So I'm going to hold the overall indices here, and I'm going to start stacking a little bit of cash up here, maybe in bonds as well. I want this to be as safe as humanly possible in this portfolio, just because I want to use that money when a crash comes. And, you know, maybe the VFV Vanguard Index Fund will probably come down substantially if something bad happens. But it's just, guys, it's just a war right now. It's just tariff wars and these guys going back and forth like children. China's under an extreme amount of pressure right now with what's going on with Hong Kong. And they got so much going on right now that this is just, Trump's really annoying them. So I think Trump's in the better position here, if I'm not going to lie. We have most of the exposure to China. Apple knows they can absolutely leave China if they want to. They would just take it to India. India is expanding. They're open for business, and I think if Apple could come to a good deal with them, they would just migrate over there. I honestly think this is a little over exaggerated for some of these companies to be going on the discounts they're on. So if you are into dividend investing, guys, this is the time. So I want you to let me know for sure in the comment section below what you think about this, but I'm definitely going to lower my exposure because I just can't have this drop another 15 or 20% at the exposure I have. I would like to keep buying into it. So what I'm going to do is sell out some shares now to re-divvy up, or maybe just hold into cash until I see what happens and then try and buy on a greater dip. I do believe in the Canadian banks here. People think banks are banks are banks. I say that a lot myself, but the fact is these companies have been around for a very long time. They're insured here by the Canadian Treasury as they are by the Federal Reserve in the US. And even if they're building up loss provisions, these guys have survived the '08 crash. We might be running into a lot of issues here in Canada, but I just can't see this brand disappearing. It's just same with Bank of Nova Scotia. It's just I use these banks. There's very few banks here. There's some guys that try and upcome that aren't popular at all, and it's just these guys are just good banks. But obviously right now I'm a little worried about CM. CM has got my heart beating a little bit because there's some crazy stuff going on here on their books. They're doing a good job because they're raising the dividends and the loss provisions at the same time, and I'm just trying to figure out where most of their streams of income are coming from. And I don't want to get too into it, just because I got to understand it better first, but you guys can definitely let me know in the comment section below. So I hope you enjoyed this quick breakdown. Again, guys, stay calm. Like, come on. It's just, this is the most interesting time in the markets, and for you not to be enjoying these insane cycles with Trump, like I said, I'm not a fan of Trump in a lot of ways. Do not get me wrong, but I'm just glad there's somebody with the guts and the chutzpah to have the balls to stand up against China, because every president, everybody in Canada here, we've always curdled over to China, and it's absolutely insane. I honestly think China, Russia, some of those countries are responsible for ruining the real estate here in Canada, along with a lot of greedy politicians and a lot of just greedy brokers and real estate agents, and just nothing makes sense here anymore. And in the US, like, at least they have someone standing up against this crap, because like I said, I speak from the heart here, guys, when I've personally seen how much China has screwed over amazing companies just because people had suppliers over there, and those people are shipping fentanyl over here by the truckload, and there's no criminal charges for them on the other end, and they don't care if they get the drugs get caught because they're cheap to make there, and they just keep sending them over. China has been ruining the Western world, and I'm so glad our companies have become so dominant. Well, what am I talking about? I don't even live in the US. I feel like I'm speaking about Apple and those kind of companies. Look, guys, I love Canada. Don't get me wrong. Same with the US. You got to love the US. The Western world is probably one of the best places you can live today for safety and security. And the fact that the new people coming up for election are so gung-ho. If you guys haven't watched the new runners-up, I really believe there's going to be some good people coming into presidency. I don't think Trump can get up against the guys that are coming next. So, I mean, not that if you're a Trump lover, like I said, I got nothing against you. I got nothing against whatever you believe in. I'm willing to have an open conversation about it. It's why I love stocks, because we're all just kind of playing the same chess game. And I like people that have the chutzpah to actually, like, stand up and, like, say, look, like, I think you're wrong for this reason, and we can disagree. But I love hearing these opinions because, like I said, it makes me double guess myself. It puts that gut in your stomach. Am I right? Do I believe in what I'm doing? And it makes you have to go back to your core fundamentals, which is exactly what stock investing should be about. So stay cool, guys. Stay awesome. I look forward to chatting to you real soon.